Hello and welcome back, everybody. Since Alien was the topic of the last video, I thought I was going to be done talking about this for a little bit, but my friend, Bad Guy 292, gave me an idea that I found too interesting to not write about. In the first Alien movie, the definitive one in my opinion, the wider universe of the movie is not really all that fleshed out. Weiland-Yutani owns the Nostromo. They are on a mission hauling an enormous automated ore processing refinery containing 20 million tons of ores to Earth when they catch the distress signal from the alien ship, but beyond that, not much is understood. The second movie fleshes out this a little bit more, and we learn about the state of the human race in that universe. First of all, the United States still exists as an entity by the start of the second movie, as the United States colonial marines are dispatched to try to retake the colony by the time the aliens take over. We also learn that the Weiland-Yutani Corporation are a typical example of what we might understand as the late 70s, early 80s megacorporation a la Robocop or Terminator, as they have engineered this entire situation to try to get a hold of aliens for research purposes. They want to turn the alien into a sort of bioweapon, an expendable and deadly corporate weapon for eliminating competition. That entire idea is the subject of today's video, and let me pause everything to say that as a fan, while this totally fits the over-the-top evil of the corporation in the universe, it is kind of a beyond stupid idea. These creatures are, each, individually, walking nuclear weapons in terms of their ability to devastate any habitable body, and there's essentially no getting rid of them once they have infested a ship or a planet. Much better use of them would be to allow them to infest a specially prepared location that has been booby-trapped, then kill all of them and use their corpses for the benefit of material science. Imagine using their blood for industrial acids, or studying their hive mind by dissecting their brains. Yes, that is a more limited way of studying than live subjects, but studying live xenomorphs is kind of like trying to study nuclear reactions inside of the Chernobyl reactor unshielded. Through books, movies, and games, we have seen even single lone creatures reproduce into thousands and wash like a tide over the most secure facilities that money can build. Bioweapons as an object of study are an interesting subject, and for a while humans thought that the future of warfare would be the weapons that no one could see. Microbes, bacteria, viruses, secretively and selectively bred to kill only one's enemies, their soldiers, civilians, livestock, leaving only their factories and civilian centers left for your own brave citizenry to occupy. But alas, those ideas were destined for the trash heap, as the more humanity found out about germ theory, about viruses, bacteria, and other pathogens, the more they shied away from them. But why was that? Basically, it comes down to the fact that unlike a bomb that explodes once, killing a certain number of people, maybe causing a fire, and that's it, pathogens are living things like us, composed of cells and protein and DNA. They are subject to all the same forces that we are, including evolution, and they are much less complex than us. This means that while it might take thousands of years for human-sized creatures to adapt to a new environment, accumulate changes, and become new creatures, pathogens do this thousands of times more quickly. Has anyone among those watching taken antibiotics but done so incorrectly and had their bugs suddenly become much harder to get rid of? Some pathogens within your body and subject to your immune system can be destroyed by antibiotics and other drugs, but if you don't take them regularly, they can grow resistance to the medicine and grow much harder to kill. There's more too. A lot of things in your body, from your gut biome to the mitochondria in your cells, were once foreign pathogens that entered your body, but over millions of years adapted to become core parts of your body's functionality. But most of the time, when a pathogen hurts you, it's because it is from another type of creature and zoologically shifted to you. When it enters and adapts to you, it tries to replicate the way it had designed itself to in the previous body, but your body, being different, causes a lot of what the pathogen does to be damaging instead of either benign or helpful. Bird flu, or swine flu are called that because it originally came from birds or swine transferred to humans due to overly close proximity with infected fowl or swine. This pathogen affects the human body and does a huge amount of damage in a short time, and this is ultimately why bioweapons are a bad idea. Imagine you take a disease that only affects one type of animal and make it more infectious through gain-of-function research. This is done across the world to study how the next pandemic will affect populations across the world, but in the case that you would do it maliciously and try to make it affect only one type of person, say people with brown eyes. Well, say you are successful, and the pathogen starts only affecting them. Well, the problem is that the pathogen is not likely to stay only affecting them, and now your targeted flu is now affecting blue-eyed people and green-eyed people too in a short period. Back when travel between countries was fairly slow and ocean liners and horse carts dominated travel, disease transfer could be managed to a degree by quarantining a portion of the population, a village or a city or a province, before it spread further. The problem is that this pathogen, introduced to an airport or subway for maximum damage, will encounter thousands upon thousands of new hosts rather quickly, evolving to affect more and more kinds of people until an infected person reaches your homeland and infects one of your countrymen, and now suddenly the directed pandemic has become a worldwide problem. That isn't all that different from what releasing an alien on a target would be like either. One facehugger smuggled into luggage, or an egg in a crate hidden among the storage bins, and everyone in that facility, ship, or world is under extinction level danger. And AVP Requiem, at the end of the movie, explores this, with the city and everyone remaining in it being nuked to avoid the creatures expanding out and killing everyone else on the continent. On a side note, what the impact on this was for the rest of the country at the time is unknown, but we can surmise that it was devastating. Whoever the president was at the time is likely to have been run out of office at the very least, if not simply executed. What could he or she have to say? It was done secretively, obviously, as the existence of the alien is a big secret to the general public in all future movies, so what must have the fallout been like? I imagine it would have been the biggest topic of discussion all across the world. A post-Cold War nuclear-capable nation nuking its own small city. Thousands, at least to tens of thousands or more, of people killed in the blast, and many hundreds of thousands more over the intervening years by radiation of a tactical nuclear blast as it rests across nearby states and in the atmosphere. That is a topic to explore soon, I think, but I have this idea in my head that this is perhaps why, or at least partly why, the corporations in this universe become so powerful compared to the nations of today. If we imagine that the USA or other nations across the world destabilize because of the use of these weapons on population centers, these corporations rise to fix these problems. Maybe that explains it. Anyway, as the movies progress, the alien was to be brought by the corporation to Earth, where it could be studied more completely. What an earth-shatteringly bad idea. Presumably, there are still billions of people on Earth, and Earth in this universe isn't 40K. No place in this universe is set up to resist an apocalyptic invasion like this. There aren't enough soldiers and weapons on the planet to prevent a takeover. The only way to ensure survival of the species in a universe that contains the alien is to spread as widely as possible on every star system and planetary body until there is simply no way to stop the snowballing of humanity's expansion. A much better use of the aliens is to use their bodies and flesh that grows on their infestation areas to better science, as we pulverize their bodies so completely that nothing could ever even suggest that they could get back up again. Like stated earlier, imagine using their blood or bodies to create new acids or organic materials. Their bodies resist bullets of low caliber, so why not use the knowledge you gained from studying their corpses to make body armor, or build impact-resistant plating for void ships? At least what the Predators do with the aliens makes some degree of sense, using them for a rite of passage ritual essential to their culture. They use them, then obliterate them in a sea of cleansing fire. It is still nonsensical. I mean, realistically speaking, it's a tribal group that is using an ultra-dangerous animal on other planets where there are tons of sentient creatures around. But at least it's not for the purposes of a bioweapon, when that weapon is so unimaginably dangerous that the only way of fixing the issue when it inevitably goes wrong is to turn the entire region into a sea of radioactive cobalt glass. At least, that's my take. For everyone who stuck around to watch this video to the end, I thank you. I am so happy that someone is interested in my ramblings. I'm intending to release this update video soon, so watch out for that. I am currently in the process of coming up with how to articulate with what's been going on with me and what to share and stuff like that. The next video will hopefully be a little longer, maybe going into the Soviet century stuff for the Red Alert videos, but I'm not sure. I'm wanting those particular videos to be around an hour long, but it depends on how much I'm able to write for them. I want to keep writing for a weekly schedule, so let's see how long I can keep that up. This is week 3, part of that will hopefully be a nice long streak past the end of the year. Anyway, thank you for watching. Hope you all have a wonderful day.